Let's see, I think I had a little bit of temple news to kind of round things out. And of course, Lone Mountain, Nevada. We have been following this since the very beginning. And we are at the point where there's a groundbreaking. A lot of the residents that I'm friends with there, they didn't really know much about it, even though it was happening like 100 feet from their house, right? So they came in and they had a big groundbreaking, even though, like Cody, like Heber, there is still this appeal to the Supreme Court of Nevada. You guys have seen this pattern, right? This is, the trajectory. They try to work with the local, they get shut down, they appeal, they take it up to the top. Even I can understand this. So, and this is a huge temple. This is a ginormous, they knocked it down to like 196 feet because of aviation rules, but this is massive.
There's an airport right by there, right? And then
that was Heber. Heber, they did not know. Heber, they did not knock down. Moroni is going to have red lights.
This isn't Heber. This is Las Vegas. This is
Lone Mountain. Okay. I know. All the temples are on the same trajectory. The same thing is happening. So here we go with the groundbreaking.
To me too.
Yep, there it is. They said a dedicatory prayer. Look how excited they are. And isn't it amazing? They're just standing in front of this beautiful natural mountain, Lone Mountain. And what does the church do when it sees a beautiful natural landmark, like here in Lone Mountain, or this gorgeous view in Cody, or the beautiful area? Let's put a freaking temple in front of it. And you can see the beautiful mountain in the background of those standing with golden shovels. And then up upper right, it's going to have a temple smack down in the dab in the middle. There it is. You just got to put your fingerprint wherever it is. Anyway, during the ceremony, it was said, guide the hands that will shape stone, wood, glass, and steel, that the beauty and craftsmanship of this temple may reflect the divine truths that will be taught within its walls. So that's very poetic. And I don't know if you remember, but I have a recording from the church lawyers trying to talk to LDS leadership there in Lone Mountain and, try to explain what's going on. And maybe that was Fairview. Anyway, one of these recordings said that Jesus actually lives on the second floor. So that's why they have to be that tall. Jesus actually physically inhabits the second floor.
That's why there's a full suite there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I think that was Fairview. But yeah, that is why the temple is so big and tall. And I had to put this other picture, very early days, 2 years ago. Residents.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Bill, did you have something you wanted to say?
Just a really quick note. Notice there's no apostle or first presidency member there. I'm so used to at the groundbreakings of temples seeing at least one apostle, and what you end up with is Michael Dunn, who's a member of the 70. He is the church's representative there, but no apostles breaking ground. So anyway,
wow.
I think in the contested areas, of which this is one, right? Where there's been a lot of resident engagement, Heber, Cody, all those, they're not going to send an apostle into that.
No, they should. They should just put targets on their backs.
Yeah.
That way everybody knows who the apostle is. By the way, Rebecca, sorry to interrupt you. It's just sometimes I get this. I look up and I see Bill has this beamish look about him, and I can just see he's got something great he wants to share.
Exactly. And I can't see anything. So I'm glad that you're keeping me on track. We should have a little hand raising, signal here. But the little picture at the bottom, very early on. And it's funny how we started, covering all this, all the temples kind of all together, same trajectory, but they floated a giant ball up in the sky at the height of the temple to say, hey, everybody, residents, this is where it's going to be. Let's mobilize and let's do something. So as I said, they are still the residents, they lost in the district court. And remember RFM, how I reported on the city then turned around and sued the residents for the fees of this case, right? They said this was frivolous. You guys have to pay, right? And that's kind of what has happened. Here's some more pictures from the groundbreaking. So it is continuing up. They have appealed to the Supreme Court of Nevada. I don't know if they've accepted it yet, but the residents looks like they are going to have to pay, according to the judge. They are going to have to pay for some of those legal costs for even daring to sue the city over this issue. So now
they've got to pay the city the legal costs that the city expended, presumably using the taxpayer dollars that these very people were taxed.
Exactly. Yep. So that's something that's a little disappointing.
It's like double dipping.
It's double dipping. Yep. And so currently the case is now before the Nevada Supreme Court following the petition by the Nevada Rural Preservation Alliance. That is the citizens group. While the case was pending, a groundbreaking ceremony was held. So now in Heber, there was an injunction and they made them stop building, right? They had already started digging. There was water. They made them stop. That's not happening here. They can go ahead and build. And in Cody, that didn't happen either. While there was still legal proceedings, they were able to build. So the church is just trucking on, moving on. 200 temples announced by President Nelson, by the way, 228 completed. Okay. So that means to finish at the same pace, over 30 years for the rest of them. Do you think they will announce the temples that he was going to announce at conference? Or do you think they'll wipe the slate and start over with Oakes's announcements?
I think they might just take a break for about a decade and go, we've got enough temples for now.
Yeah, except for there's that thing that we reported on that said they want a temple within an hour of every single member of the church. And I hear there's somebody up at that Antarctica station. So they've got to do it. And I do have a little insider information that they are trying to tweak the way that they build temples. The process is very laborious. It's all concentrated with one, power structure. They're trying to kind of change it, maybe amp it up to accommodate all these temples. So maybe 10 a year. And I've also made the prediction before that I feel like they're going to dumb down, kind of maybe make some of the meeting house level decor and architecture, especially.
How can they dumb it down?
Meeting house level decor.
We have wall-to-wall carpeting.
Yeah.
It's indoor, outdoor. It's literally wall-to-wall. It goes halfway up the cinder block wall.
Yep, that's it. That's what I'm saying. I think instead of these opulent temples, which may not be the greatest look in some of these other countries, I think there's going to be sort of a temple light, kind of a meeting house level, instead of those extraordinarily ornate, facade and everything, just kind of a little more under the radar. So we'll see. That's one of my predictions. But
okay, well, I don't know, because that would actually require Elder Oakes to have humility. I know he likes to say he has it a lot, but that would actually require humility to announce no temples for the rest of his presidency.
Yeah. And it would make him look like
Nelson was announcing them all over the place.
Exactly. And it would make him look like he had not inherited the lighted pen, right? How come the Lord gave
they accidentally buried it with Elder Nelson?
Exactly. That's it. So I don't know, but we'll see. Temples, I'm telling you, all these things are shaken up at conference because of President Nelson's death. One other quick little one, Jacksonville, Florida approves $27 million temple that's going to be built. And this has just kind of been sailing through the process in the city there. I was kind of waiting for somebody to maybe contact me and say, hey, do you know what's going on? Nobody did. But now that it's passed, right, the conditional use permit is there. Now the residents are like, hey, what about traffic? Has anyone done a traffic study? Yeah, that's too late. You need to have thought of that a long time ago, the playbook. So there was a little concern about traffic, and no traffic study was done because no residents were complaining. So we'll keep an eye on that. But there is.
Am I the only one who really thinks these look all the same?
They do.
I mean, they look different in the way that different kind of buildings made out of the same Lego.
Yep.
Look the same. They're all kind of a piece.
Yep. Well, they're prefab. They're preformed. The smaller ones, I mean, they're all.
I'm sure that accounts for a lot of it.
Yeah, we saw that in Cody when they had loaded in the pieces of the temple before they even announced it to the citizens in Cody, right? And just kind of slap them up and put them together. They do pride themselves. I've talked to different designers and architects of putting something that represents the area, something natural. Like they'll say, oh, there's this flower in Jacksonville. We're going to weave that into the carpet, right? I did hear a funny story about a temple in South America from one of the architects where the church wanted this beautiful flower to be kind of put in some of the architectural details. And once they put it in, it was sort of a hanging flower with like two little balls of a flower and then sort of a hanging part to the flower. Anyway, it looked like male anatomy, and they had to take it down because it just didn't look quite right. So there are these.
You got my attention at male anatomy.
Yeah, I know. I did the visual too, didn't I? So yeah. So anyway, that was not. I mean, don't even get me started on the chandeliers. I mean, come on.
Really?
Can anything be more?
I'm gonna go back to the temple. But look at this. It's like the Mormons hate color. They have no color in their.
Yep.
They don't like color. Everything's white, and I think the reason that we know why everything is white on these temples now is so that they'll reflect light.
Yep, that's exactly the uplighting, the upwash, as they call it, which they, assure people this will never spill out over toward your house. Yeah, but it will blind you against everything else. And I have an example of this, I think, on my last slide. Oh, here it is. Yeah, now it's controversial. Now the residents there in Jacksonville are, trying to see what's going on. We'll keep you reported on that. This is so interesting. I'm literally putting this together and I'm overhearing a conversation about the Lindon Temple. I heard these people, it was in a restaurant, say something about the Lindon Temple. They had no idea I was sitting behind them. And I'm kind of got my Jamie Summers sonic ear, right?
Yeah.
Because first they said, I don't know what's going on with Lindon. I'm like, what?
Mhm.
Right? Bad luck that you're sitting by me, because now everybody's going to know what's going on with Lindon. So the Lindon Temple has really been completed. And I thought this too, according to, these people that I eavesdropped on. And you can see here the furniture moved in like in the summer. Furniture is usually the last thing to go on. It's done. Right. It is already lit. Look at this picture down here. This is the neighborhood. It is lit every night. It's a massive temple. If you look over here on the left, you can see a teeny tiny little 4-story house. Look how small that is compared to the temple.
It's crazy because that temple, it looks like a bounce house, except it's a temple.
Except
obviously it's much bigger, but it looks kind of silly.
This little house is 4 stories. These are big Utah homes. And I cannot express to you how big this is. If anyone in the chat has driven past Lindon, please back me up. This is you just can't even believe it. And there it is lit up. It's not even open yet. And the people that were talking today said, we don't know what's going on. The open house is not scheduled till well into next year, but it's completed and it's lit every night. Yes, lit every night.
The point of the temples is to light them up.
I guess, but nothing inside. And then they said something interesting because, again, like I said, sonic ear, right? So it's finished. It's lit every night. No open house date until next year. And then they said this. There's another temple probably about 12 miles away, the Mount Timpanogos Temple. That's the one that I could always see out of my window of my house when I was raising my kids, always in every window. So they said that 1,000 temple workers will be moving from the Mount Timpanogos Temple District to support Lindon. So that tells me that they're coming from all over to Mount Timpanogos. And the people I was listening to said, where are we going to get 1,000 temple workers to support our Mount Timpanogos temple? So again, can you believe that number? 1,000. This is what we're talking about. The number of people, the busy work that it takes to man a temple. I just couldn't believe it. Anyway, that's what I overheard about Lindon. If anyone else knows anything else about why it's lit every night, seems to be fully completed, but will not be used for like another 6 months, please let me know.
How many? Apparently, the need is not pressing.
Yeah. How many of those 1,000 temple workers can be replaced with AI?
Well,
that guy right there.
Can AI do this? Can it do
What?
that? Can it do this? Shh. And can it do this? You've been sitting in the celestial room for 30 seconds. There's another group that needs to come through. If it can do those 3 things, a lot could be replaced.
I think pretty much, it can.
Yep, I think so too. So